we're not. We're just going to take a moment to introduce ourselves and talk about how we got here today. So my name is Hillary Flint. I'm an affected resident out of Enid Valley, Pennsylvania. And I met Becca and Jason through my work with Beaver County Marcellus Awareness Community, where I'm Director of Communications. I was taking them to go photograph the Shell Plastics plant in Beaver County, and I said, hey, we actually had a petrochemical disaster near my hometown. And they said, okay, let's go there. So what was supposed to be a couple hours turned into a whole day, and somehow I was asking Jess to come meet us, and they had a, one moment.
What are they?
Yes, too soon. Sorry about that, guys. So Jess came and met me in a parking lot where Becca and Jason rolled up a U-Haul and said, look at these monuments. And we just thought it was so cool, and we wanted to make sure that one would be planted in our community. So that's how we got here. We're going to be going to Darren Gamble's house later for the planting ceremony, and I will have Jess go ahead and introduce Becca.
Yeah, Hillary kind of said it. I got a call on a random afternoon from Hillary. She said, come down to the hot dog shop and look at this art. The hot dog shop is outside. So it was very confusing to me how they would hang art outside. But it wasn't that kind of art, clearly. So I happily sat down at the table. Becca was having her lunch, and she told me this amazing story, and I was immediately hooked. So I was happy to participate in the very first planting that we had in Clairton, and I'm very hopeful that you will enjoy the ceremony today. So with that, I will introduce Becca.
We're going to do a little mic testing first. Testing.
You on green or red?
Probably ready. Testing.
Yes.
Testing.
Yeah.
Y'all can hear me?
Great.
Okay.
There's so much more to that story. Thank you, Jess and Hillary. I think it became like a mutual love affair, and that was one thing about driving around the country and with a U-Haul filled with these externality monuments, to visit with communities impacted by petrochemical and fossil fuel pollution and the health impacts resulting from that. Right here.
Yeah.
And how it has been a vessel or container for us to immediately get to a really deep place, because these issues, we talk about them in the vernacular of a campaign, and policy change, and science, and all of that is incredibly important. And also underlying all of that is real lives. People are getting sick. People are dying.
Okay, testing. Is the mic not going to work? Testing.
Still on?
No worries. Okay. All right. So before we really open the ceremony, I just want to give you a bit of an overview of what's going to happen. So we will have a roughly 1 hour program here, with speakers and some ritual. And then we will be installing this monument at the home of a nearby resident, Darren Gamble, shout out, with his wife Stella, will be host to this monument, and I'll tell you a little bit more about it shortly. So they live about a 4-minute drive from here, and we have shuttle buses so that we can quickly and without interruption bring folks to the monument installation portion of this ceremony. And so we'll be outside for about 15 minutes there, and then it'll wrap up. Members of the media, you're welcome to conduct interviews after that. And members of the media, if you would like to take your own cars, you're welcome to. The address is in the program printed. However, you are also welcome to join us with the buses, which might be quickest. If you do drive, you'll need to park around the corner. You need the road cleared for the procession with the carting. So that is all the logistics, and I'm going to invite Arthur Red Cloud to come up. He is a Lakota and Dene indigenous organizer who's joined us today, and he's going to open the ceremony in a good way.
Good afternoon. My name is Arthur Red Cloud. It's A-R-T-H-U-R, Red Cloud, R-A-D-C-L-O-U-D, capital C-L-O-U-D. It's an honor and I'm humbled to be here. I was just reading the room and I had to take a spiritual shower because I needed to know, to get my mind and my heart in the right place, so that the words I speak may speak to those who are in desperate need as well as who are also seeking it. To the media, I hope and pray that you speak these words loudly, clearly, and excessively in rotations as far as because it's not our race that combines us. It's not our color. It's not our minds. It's our hearts. So I ask you to just because we are all accountable to each other, with each other, for each other. I'm Red Cloud, as I said. I'm 7 generations of Chief Red Cloud. My mother comes from Chief Manuelito. I wanted just to bring us in a good place, so that way we leave in a good place. As we bring our hearts, no matter where we came from or what we're doing or what's on our mind or what's on our hearts, that we are all here for each other, as well as we continue to be here, although we might not be here physically, that where our hearts and our prayers are still here. So I just kind of wanted just to bring you in a prayer. I'm part of the American Indian movement as well, so I wanted to bring an ancestor here to just kind of just I guess you could say, to bring the medicine, to bring the prayers to everyone here. So, the Great Creator, we want to thank you for just being here. We want you to ask you to just guide us, protect us today, and protect the people of East Palestine. May the great mystery continue to guide you, protect you, and the passing of your loved ones, wherever they may be, whether they are hurting, whether they are sick, whether they are still moving in these places. I just wanted just to give a brief introduction of who I am, and we've been fighting pipelines as well as petrochemicals in our areas, and as well as in the south. So I'm just really, really humbled to be here to listen to your stories and to be here for you wherever I can, and just to continue to spread those stories as well too, because these are not just stories, they're just a message, they're testimonies. So thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. Can you all hear me? Great. Awesome. So this event today is called We Refuse to Die, East Palestine Rising. As you all in the room know, exactly 1 year ago to the day, a Norfolk Southern train derailed just
a couple hundred yards down from where we are now. We're in a business, McKim's. I want to thank Ashley McKim and her family. That has been shuttered since the derailment, like many, many other businesses in town. There was a chemical disaster, trains carrying more than 100,000 gallons of hazardous materials and more than 115,000 gallons of vinyl chloride were vented and burned for days, creating a toxic cloud, black cloud, so large it could be seen from space. And since then, the community has been impacted, their health and their financial stability, and we're here to give them love. This event is both a commemoration and it's a commitment ceremony. There will be an exchange of vows, and these are vows of solidarity. In the room, there are not just residents of East Palestine and the border towns in Pennsylvania impacted by the disaster. There are also residents from environmental justice communities in Texas, in Louisiana, in Mississippi, in West Virginia, in New York, and in Sarnia, Ontario, here to show their solidarity and love. Because we are forged in the fire, and together we rise. There is going to be 3 segments to this ceremony and an exchange of vows in each, vows of solidarity. The 3 things that we are aiming to get out today in terms of what we'd like to say are 1, to commemorate all that we've endured. 2, that East Palestine is not an isolated incident. It is a symptom of a larger problem, as we will hear from our friends from other communities in the Gulf South and beyond. And 3, to shine a light on the beauty that is born from the ashes of tragedy, which is to say the family that is forged across generations and across geographies. And that is what this event is about, is really highlighting that there is a larger community now beyond East Palestine that is leading the fight for our future. So we're going to begin with East Palestine. And I'm going to tell you also what this carving represents, this monument that will be installed. I'm the director of the Natural History Museum. My name is Becca Economopoulos. I'll spell it afterwards. And we're a traveling museum for the movement, led by artists and activists. And we're a museum without walls. We do work inside other museums across the country and in communities. We recently had an exhibition, working an exhibition at the Carnegie Museum of Art in Pittsburgh, where this monument was on display with others. And we're from the Pacific Northwest, where we have an annual smoke season now from the wildfires that is intensifying. And the smoke is so bad we can't go outside and breathe the air. Our friends' homes burned down in Oregon in the wildfires in 2020. And they live in the apartment above our garage now. We went out with them earlier this year to salvage trees that had been killed in the wildfires. And we've been carving them into these externality monuments. Externality is a term that economists use and industry uses to talk about the costs of doing business that don't show up on their economic ledgers. They are externalized costs that are paid for not by the company, but by your health, by the land, and by our children's future. And so, if that is what industry sees our frontline communities as, externalities, these externality monuments are going up across from petrochemical plants and fracking sites and sites of environmental injustice, because they are on watch as sentinels. We are the externalities. We are external to that world of exploitation and extraction, and we come from a world more powerful, is what that monument says. We're going to begin with East Palestine residents and Pennsylvania border towns. I'd like to invite you to come up on stage. And we will begin with some testimonials.
Hello, I'm Walter Paul, and I lost my girlfriend on December 27th, or 17th, excuse me. And she found out, she went in the hospital for pneumonia in October 11th, but they was treating her for flu symptoms and stuff, and but they found a spot in her lung, and she didn't make it out of the hospital. And they was trying to get a vinyl chloride treatment or testing of her blood, and the state wouldn't let most of the doctors do it. Like the eye doctor said he could probably get it done, and waiting on the test results from that, if he could do it. He wasn't sure, but he said he was just going to try. But she's going to be a big loss in the community. But I know we're all staying behind to get this town straight, no matter what. Thank you.
I'm from South Beaver Township, Pennsylvania. I'm from South Beaver Township in Pennsylvania, 6 miles to the southeast of here. And February 3rd will forever be a part of my life. Numerous times in the past year I've walked out on my front porch and still vision the light with fire and smoke filling the air through the forest that surrounds my home. As I pass by my bedroom window, I still think of the plume of smoke filling the sky as the sun set. Still, I recall my 4-year-old son being afraid to go to bed because another train might derail. I still remember being sick nearly every day for 6 months, headaches, coughing, difficulty breathing, burning in my eyes and nose, and that disgusting metallic taste in my mouth and throat. The smell of the air that reminds you more of an over-chlorinated swimming pool. Most people spend time with a loved one on Valentine's Day. Last year, I spent mine looking at dead frogs, fish, and a chemical sheen in Leslie Run. My first trip to the creeks, a journey I would take many times over the course of a year. My summer was not filled with going to a swimming pool or on vacation. It was spent documenting a chemical sheen in 2 creeks that were once used for cooling off in the summer. As the leaves changed on the trees, myself and others continued to see how that sheen moved further and further into the sediment, but still sticks in the banks and bleeds into the water by people's homes, even now a year later. I have watched people suffer in so many ways, going here and there and everywhere for answers. They look for a hero to save them, but no one hears their cries, at least not anyone who has the power to do anything. I have watched a once close-knit community be torn apart, the healthy versus suffering. However, in the midst of this disaster, there were some moments that one can reflect on and say that not all of it has been bad. I have gained knowledge that I would have never even thought to learn about if this would not have happened. I learned more about the government, politics, and corporations. We will leave that there for now. I've learned far more about chemicals than one ever thinks they will learn in their lifetime, unless you're a scientist of sorts. I've learned more about my environment and how we rely on it even more than one would normally think about. I've seen how caring people can be when disaster strikes, coming from all over the country and all over the world to hear our stories and bring us water and other supplies. I've made some friends that will be friends for the rest of my life, who I've been able to share a good laugh with, good cries with, and who have also had open arms whenever you need them, good times or bad. We may think we are alone at times, but when you talk to people, when you feel you need to, you realize you aren't so alone after all. Though our communities and homes, even some divided, we have so many of us that have come together in unity to make one voice that the world has listened to. So many different types of people have been able to come together, putting their differences aside, whatever those might be, to share one message. We will not be abandoned and we will not be forgotten. These are our lives and we matter. We never thought that this would happen here, but it has, and it will unfortunately probably occur in another community as well. However, we can take all the lessons we have learned and will continue to learn and share them, just as others who came before us shared theirs. We will continue to have to do that until the government chooses to hold large corporations accountable for a lack of safety standards or for what they do to the environment and humans. We aren't the first, and as of yet, we will not be the last.
Hold it. That was beautiful, Christina. Many of you in this room, media specifically, has already heard my repeated testimony. I have felt forced to relive that day over and over again in order for us to be heard. Today I come to you as a mother. I have 3 young boys, 4, 10, and 11. This morning I wrote a letter to my youngest son, who was diagnosed with asthma a few months after the derailment. To my baby boy, whose perfect, sweet little face now graces the pages of the New York Times and Time magazine. My love for you is without borders, beyond the sky and past galaxies unknown. I am sorry I could not protect you. I have channeled my heavy grief into action and advocacy in the last year, feeling like I had no other option. But just for today, I lay that down. I release it to all of you. I apologize to you, my son, for not being able to protect you, for I failed you in your moment of need. Today, I let the grief surface with hopes of tomorrow. Instead of packing it down into the shadows of my heart, maybe someday I will finally be able to let it go.
Hi everyone, my name is Hillary Flint and I'm a resident of Eden Valley, Pennsylvania, a town with less than 300 people that borders East Palestine, Ohio. My great-grandparents moved to Eden Valley to start their farm. My grandparents, specifically my Mimi, who's in the audience right now, became a pillar of the community as a small business owner. My father not only continued their legacy, but he built his own. I'm the 4th generation to live in my home, and I fear that I will be the last. Yet I fear that I will be the last simply because a billion-dollar company has put corporate greed before public safety. My family achieved the American dream, and now we're living the American nightmare. But I'm still a dreamer. We're now in the age of Aquarius, and this is our moment. We the people will not just reinvent the wheel, we're gonna break it. We're gonna move forward beyond failed systems and tired traditions. We're gonna start caring about people beyond our own self and our immediate family. We're gonna innovate and create and build a new world. We'll learn the meaning of community and of love and of care. What happened in East Palestine, Ohio isn't about me and my neighbors. It's about a moment where we, all of us here today and everywhere, come together and create something better. I invite everyone here and everyone everywhere to join us in a fight for peace and love and unity. Because together we the people will create a world in which our dreams are reality, and no one can take reality away from us.
So with the motif or theme today of the Phoenix Rising, I want to point out Jess's tattoo. When I met her just, I think, 2 days prior, she had just gotten this Phoenix Rising from the ashes. And then just last night, I met Christina, and she said, "Oh, I have that too." And so this is the first day, I'm told, in almost 50 days that the sun is shining here in East Palestine. And so I want to represent the sun here with these sunflowers. They are also a symbol of solidarity, and I'm told they are heliotropes that remediate the soil. So now I also want to say that you've heard from a few folks impacted by the derailment, but there are many, many more. And you've heard from a few organizers who are fighting for accountability and for change and for a ban on vinyl chloride, for rail safety, for a disaster declaration, which would set a precedent to support other communities facing similar threats. Okay? So I also want to bring into the room and acknowledge the many, many other people in the community who've been impacted by this disaster and who have had the courage to stand up and to fight for each other, for their families, for other communities, and for our future. So several people were not able to make it today, but I just want to thank Jamie Wallace and Misty Allison and others for all of the work that they are doing on behalf of the community. And now we're going to do an exchange of vows from East Palestine area residents to one another.
To the strong community members of East Palestine, Ohio, and those of us living in the border towns of Pennsylvania. In this year of trials, where fear and uncertainty shadowed our days, we stood together towards the echoes of tragedy that tested our spirits. We've endured the pain of loss, the anxiety of our health, and the betrayal of those we thought would protect us. Yet we found the light within us. We have cried, we have fought, some of us have prayed, not just neighbors, but we're now family forged in the fire of adversity. We vow to you with every fiber of our being that we will continue to stand with you, to hold you in your moments of need, to fight for our rights, and to be the shoulder you lean on. Let us move forward in the spirit of collaboration and allow blessings of the unified solidarity to give us both strength and peace for you, for us, for our community.
To our incredibly resilient neighbors of East Palestine and over the border in Pennsylvania, the past year has reshaped our lives in ways that we would have never imagined. We have seen the indifference of industry, yet more importantly, we have witnessed the interconnected strength of our community. In the face of fear and frustration, in the midst of stress and sorrow, we have stood side by side, united in our resolve to protect and support one another. Today, I pledge to continue this journey with each of you. I pledge to support you, to listen when you speak, and to offer a hand whenever you may stumble. We are more than just friendly neighbors. We are a family, bound by resilience and love through every challenge that may come. I promise to have your back. Individually, we all stand tall, and from the ashes, together we rise.
And then for all of you for whom this vow resonates, could you please say, "We vow this to you"?
We vow this to you.
Thank you. I'm going to invite our East Palestine area residents to one side of the stage. And I'm going to invite up our friends from other environmental justice communities to join us. I think I mentioned before, we have Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York, and Sarnia, Ontario in the house. And West Virginia, thank you, I'm Warren. And Virginia. So we'll hear some testimonials. We'll hear some testimonials from our friends here now. And I think our first testimonial is from Joy Bannon.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joy Banner, and I'm with the Descendants Project. I'm also here with my twin sister, Jo Banner, and we are in Louisiana. Well, actually, you may know it better or heard of it as Louisiana's Cancer Rally. The name of our organization is the Descendants Project because we are descended from people that were enslaved at the plantations that are still around us, that are still in our backyards. Those plantations are now the footprint of many dangerous, polluting facilities that are all around our Black descended communities. Our ancestors, in despite of all of that tragedy and trauma, they were able, many of them self-emancipate, fight in the war, and free themselves. They created our communities that we have lived in for hundreds of years. Our neighborhood specifically that Joe and I still live in, our great-great-grandfather founded it over 100 years ago. We are 10th generation Louisianians. However, we are being displaced and run out of our communities that we love. I grew up in a community surrounded by my family, sitting out in the evening in Louisiana because it is hot, but yes, we do like to sit outside and talk and commune with each other, listening to good old Louisiana Creole folk tales and folk stories, playing outside with my cousins. But we are losing those communities. 30 years ago, our parish president, parish is like a county for you all in Louisiana, our parish president was convicted of taking a bribe for illegally changing zoning from residential to industrial for Formosa Plastics, which was going to produce vinyl chloride, PVC. We almost lost our community. We as a community fought back, but those politicians were so corrupt, we almost got run out of our homes. What did not happen, there was a zoning, that industrial zoning stayed on the book for 30 years. And 30 years later, in 2021, again, because of that zoning, we were threatened. Our community was threatened by a massive grain terminal facility that would pump out 100 tons more pollution into the already polluted area. We were terrified. We are still terrified. We're still frightened, still sad. And there's been many tears, been a lot of trauma, but we fought back. We refused to die. We looked for every single angle, every single way that we could fight this thing, from the zoning to the permitting to the historic preservation. We did it, right? And it was the support of other people around our communities, outside our communities, around the country that stepped in and said, we're here for you, you can do it. So for all of you, I'm telling you, you can do it. It's scary, it is hard, but it is glorious. Because the tears that I shed and the tears that I see in all of your eyes, we're the only people that understand those tears. And we come together in solidarity and support, and our tears are strong and they're powerful, and they'll wash out all this evil, and they'll wash out all this hatred, and they'll wash out all the pain. So I just offer to you from Louisiana, from the Descendants Project, whatever you need from us, we are here for you. Please do not hesitate to call us, because we will be there for you to fight along with you. I love you.
Miss Barbara Urban from Mississippi.
Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna make my own. I work with Cherokee Concerned Citizens out of Pascagoula, Mississippi. We are all together here. I mean, it's so much love for this organization that I have become a part of. I formed a new family here, and I'm happy to be here. I do want to say to all of you, men and women, we are here for you. It's not about how many miles we have to cross, but it's the fact that we're here. And it's the fact that you have our support, our prayers. You know, we can't get to some places, but there's nothing wrong with your knees. You know, we have some issues with them, but you know, they still bend. If they don't want to bend, God still hears you sitting on the side of the bed. So, you know, I just want to encourage you to this mama. I want to tell you, God hears you. He sees you. He has not forgotten about you. And we love you. And we didn't travel over the airways and go through issues to get here because of just coming. We came here for support. Our mental state is more valuable than any dollar in this room. So when we are here, we support, we pray, we honor, we love, and we understand how you feel. We know how you feel. We've lost a lot, you know, to the man that was speaking earlier about losing his girlfriend. The hurt runs deep. It does not go away. It's not going to get any better, but God will make it easier. And this is something I know for myself. I lost both of my parents, and my dad all of a sudden came down with pancreatic cancer. And I live in an area where I can walk out of my front door and maybe 20, 30 yards, I'm walking into a chemical corporation in which they are not held responsible for releasing toxic fumes, breathing the stuff that we breathe. Babies are sick. People have a lot of respiratory issues. I do want to tell you, I heard the young lady speaking about the metallic taste. In this room, if you're having issues with metallic tasting in your mouth, please go get your kidneys checked. Please go and see what's going on the inside of your body. And the reason I'm so adamant about that is because this stuff that we're breathing, these chemicals, these clouds, they're extracting all of this stuff, and we need to take care of our bodies. We have to take care of our bodies. So with that being said, thank you for the opportunity. I love you guys, Becca, everybody. You know, it's just a blessing and an honor and a privilege to be here. So on behalf of Cherokee Concerned Citizens, if we can do anything for you, if you need to talk to somebody, pick that phone up. We have a website. You can go on the website, and I don't know if my number's on there or not, but anyway, my name is Barbara, and you can get that from me. And thank you again for the opportunity. And we are definitely going to keep you in our prayers. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lois Bauer-Bjornson. I live in Washington County, Pennsylvania, just 40 minutes south of Pittsburgh, and my kids go to school 20 minutes from the train derailment in Lincoln Park. So the day of the train derailment, my daughter and son were texting me going, hey, there's a big plume of smoke and we don't know which way it's going, we need to evacuate. So it can't compare to some of the things that y'all went through, but it was nice to be connected to some people that I'd heard about and able to do what little I could. Just thinking back when I was driving up here when this was all taking place, Andrew Woomer, my colleague and really good friend now, called me on Sunday. He was like, we have to do something. We were just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And he said, but I don't know, can we get funding? And I was like, I don't know, let me see what I can do. So, lo and behold, we were able to put some funding together to start Andrew's fantastic project with you guys, with the air purifiers and just needing things and what people needed. So it was such a huge just honor and privilege to be part of that. I am so new to the nonprofit world. You know, I'm a dancer. There's an ongoing joke that I can count to 8. But the way that I always like to frame these things is that if someone that can count to 8 can figure this out and figure out what is going wrong and what is happening that is incorrect and what our elected officials aren't or are doing, then anybody can do this. And I have a really fantastic way of connecting people, so anything that I can do to help you in organizations, or go to DC or Harrisburg and beat the door down of the governor, or whatever I need to do, I'm more than happy to do that. And I just stand with all of you, and I appreciate this as being a parent of 4 children. And this is why I started to do the work that I do, as I looked around outside and thought, what is going on where I live? And I grew up next to train tracks. I completely understood the train derailment. But again, my thoughts and prayers are always with you and the community on both sides of the tracks, and hope that you know that whatever I can do for you, I will do.
I know Lois mentioned Washington County is the most fracked county in Pennsylvania, which is how I met Lois when she was driving us around to do a toxic tour, where now with the fracking boom starting a little over 10 years ago, the cancers are starting to show up. So she's helping lead that fight, and we know also that it is not just train lines and petrochemical plants and cancer clusters that connect our communities. That's the negative. What else connects our communities? Is this family that is being forged across generations. Sorry. So it's not just the train lines and the petrochemical plants and the fires and the cancer clusters that connect our communities. That's the negative. What also connects our communities is the solidarity across generations and geographies that is being forged, and that these are the people who are not simply victims, they are warriors and leading the fight for our future. So I'm going to give our next vow readers a flower.
To our newly found family in East Palestine and the bordering towns in Pennsylvania, today we stand with you, not just in spirit, but in an unbreakable bond of solidarity. We from Louisiana's Cancer Alley, Texas, Mississippi, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Sarnia, Ontario, lands marred by the scars of petrochemical plants, pipelines, and pollution. We understand the pain of loss, the sting of chronic illness, and the shadow of cancer clusters. Our histories are woven with the threads of struggle against the Goliaths of industry, whose legacies of colonization, industrialization have long poisoned our air, water, and soil. Yet, through generations, we have endured, carrying the torch passed down by those who fought before us. We've learned that our strength lies in unity and the durable bonds that sustain us in this fight. To you, the brave souls of the East Palestine area, forged in the fire of shared tragedy, we extend our hands and hearts. You are now part of this family. We vow to fight alongside you for each other, for the earth, and for the future generations who will inherit her. Together we are stronger, and together we will triumph.
To our steadfast allies who have faced the giants of industry and environmental injustice, we stand with you today, humbled and strengthened by your solidarity. In the aftermath of our own disaster, we were a community grappling with shock, fear, and painful realization of being dismissed and devalued. Your presence, your stories, and your unwavering support have been a lighthouse in our storm, guiding us towards collective strength and community power. We have seen how our struggles are interconnected, how the toxic tendrils of industry have entwined our lives, not just in East Palestine and the border towns of Pennsylvania, but across Pennsylvania to Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, West Virginia, and beyond. We recognize that what happened here is not an isolated incident, but a symptom of a global crisis. Today, we make a solemn vow to you to be more than just a chapter in this narrative of resistance. We commit to standing shoulder to shoulder with you in this fight for justice, for the health and safety of our communities, and for the preservation of our planet. We promise to amplify your voices and to share the burden of this struggle. We pledge to persevere not only until our community is healed, but until every community threatened by the environmental injustice is recognized, respected, and restored. This is our vow, crafted from the resilience we've discovered within ourselves and the unwavering support that we have found in each other.
If this vow speaks to you, I invite you to say, we vow this to you.
We vow this to you.
For this last segment, I want to invite those of you who will be wearing masks to please go get them. These masks were cast from the externality monument carvings. There are dozens of monuments going up throughout the Gulf South, Appalachia, Permian Basin, and beyond. If you're wearing a mask, please step to this side of the stage and hold it. Don't put it on yet. If you're not wearing a mask, please step to this side of the stage. For this portion of the vow exchange, our final segment before we plant the monument, this is an exchange of vows between the living and the ancestors. Please put your masks on. Facing forward. We owe a debt of gratitude to those who came before us. We owe a debt of gratitude to those who came before us. These people en masse represent the ancestors. They're the folks whose shoulders we stand on and whose legacies we build upon. They're the ones who struggled for labor rights, for OSHA regulations, for a ban on toxic substances, for shutting down chemical plants, for all kinds of things. And they're also not just of the human world. The ancestors are those who can't speak, but we can speak for them and build on their legacy. We Refuse to Die is so named. It's a national campaign because the fossil fuel industry and petrochemical industry is writing off our communities and the land as externalities, as sacrifice zones, as the living dead. but we refuse to die, the living dead speak back, forging a coalition between the living and the dead, in which the ancestors are not simply victims, but allies and agents of change with us in our movements. I'm going to read a vow on behalf of the ancestors to the living, as represented here and in the audience. In spirit, we bind our essence to yours as guardians beyond the veil. In this sacred bond, we promise to be your steadfast sentinels. We will be the wind that whispers encouragement, the rain that nurtures growth, and the soil that grounds your resolve. Together, we shield this earth and its heirs, for our legacy lives on in you and in the threads of existence.
And now I'll speak to the dead and our ancestors. We embrace your wisdom from realms unknown. With reverence, we take up the mantle of stewardship. We vow to the hands that tend our earth, the voices that speak for those that cannot. In every action, we will honor your memory and your sacrifices and build upon your legacy. Together in this sacred partnership, we stand as guardians of life, of every stream, mountain, and sky. We promise to uphold our duty with conviction and with love, to protect our planet, our home, for those yet to come too. In this solemn vow, we unite with you, your undying spirit, and our shared struggle for a just and livable future for our families, our communities, and all life on earth.
And now we're going to process the carving outside and invite each of you to follow. Don't get up yet. Don't get up yet. I'm just going to tell you a couple of things. In your chair is a piece of paper and a pen. And we invite you to write onto that piece of paper what it is that you would like to forge in the fire this year. There will be a fire by the monument installation where you can burn that piece of paper. We will also have at the front, as you walk out into the buses, calla lilies. We want to invite each of you to take the stem of a calla lily, which is used both in celebrations like weddings and in funerals. And these are two sides of the same coin of love. Please go ahead and pick up the carving. We'll cue the music.